2023 first time Oscar nominee stars Emily Blunt stars in Sicario. I promise that I'm going through all of these nominees and giving them a highlighted performance. Yes, I gave Emma Stone the house bunny, but I want them to all have audio description. And Sicario currently has audio description on Amazon Prime, just with your subscription. I know it's really confusing when I say stuff like that. So Prime with subscription. This film is described by the team at Deluxe, voiced by Darren Polish. And I don't know what's happened to it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So Emily Blunt is in this film fantastically playing, a federal agent who has been assigned to this task force. And we've also got Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro in prominent roles. You'll notice John Bernthal pops up in this. And yeah, it's a film. This is not my first time watching Sicario. I should get that out of the way. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve, who I think is one of a handful of directors. If I had to pick 5 new-ish directors that are on their way to being legends, like the Spielbergs and the Scorseses of the world, Denis Villeneuve is absolutely on that list. Like, I would whittle him down to like a top 5 of directors who didn't direct anything prior to at least 2000, and are really making a case for themselves. And Denis is doing that with his films. He has such a consistency and quality that it's really hard to say that he doesn't have the possibility of being one of those people. Sicario isn't even my favorite film of his, but it's because it's something I just like. This is only my second time rewatching Sicario. I watched it the first time and it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was like, I don't know that I ever want to watch Sicario again, but I'm watching it now because it's my first time with audio description, and it hit you like a ton of bricks. This film is very graphic in its violence, in a way that shocks and awes you, but feels so realistic. It's very scary. Denis really went for hyper realism with this film, and even though it's not my favorite Denis Villeneuve film, the craft here is excellent. It's just not my favorite because it's one of those films that it's difficult to watch it. It's difficult to say, oh, I love Sicario. Oh, there's so many depressing things that happen in this film. Dead bodies, people being blown up, and just a lot of things that you have to prepare yourself for. So I don't know. I guess some people enjoy this. For me, it's just not something I enjoy. So that's the difference. But then again, I could say the same thing about Prisoners. And for some reason, I enjoy Prisoners because of the tension that he brought to Prisoners. I don't know why we made a sequel to this, Sicario, Day of the Soldado. I have no idea why somebody thought that was an idea, why that was a choice. But it's nowhere near this. So if you happen to see the sequel and you were like, oh, well, I won't watch the first one. Please don't watch the first one. The first one's better. Always is. So, yeah. Great performances. Emily Blunt kicks some ass. She is totally relatable because she's absolutely like you in the audience. There's things that in audio description, when you hear them described, it's never as bad as actually seeing them. So the fact that they put such an emphasis on absolutely total human reactions to atrocities really helps sell how horrifying certain things are in this film that they find, that they happen, even though this film seems like we're just going after, drug lords on the other side of the border, and teaming up with Benicio del Toro's uh, border hopping, crime fighting character. I don't know. It's border hopping always seems like it has a negative connotation, but I really don't know what else to say here except for he works on both sides of the border. You know what I'm saying? Like he he's free to travel to fight crime with wherever it goes. He teams up with the Americans on this, so that we get his perspective as a Mexican agent in this as well. Emily Blunt has quite a harrowing sequence that you don't know is going to be a harrowing sequence, but so I won't ruin that. I won't even tell you who it's with. I'm just going to leave that out there if you haven't seen Sicario. It's not that old of a film, so I don't feel super into spoiling it. I don't mind spoilers of films of a certain age, but this is not of a certain age yet. We're not at that point. And if you want to see why I've been a little bit hard on this nomination for Blunt, because I feel like it's the wrong film. It's just a long time coming. You need to watch films like Sicario anyway, because you need to, obviously you haven't seen enough Emily Blunt performances. You know, I honestly was trying to find something of hers that really resonated with why she deserves to be where she is. And there's so many performances, and as I whittled it down, I actually had just reviewed Devil Wears Prada not that long ago, and I mentioned in my review of Devil Wears Prada that I think it would have been great if Emily Blunt had gotten a nomination right out of the gate for supporting actress. It's so rare that we nominate comedic performances, but looking back at her performance in that, in addition to Meryl Streep's performance, in addition to even potentially Stanley Tucci's performance, there are some great performances in that film that feel iconic, and Emily Blunt's is one of them. So I wouldn't have minded that nomination. She's gone on to do other films, and I was between Sicario and A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place is another great representation of the potential of why she deserved to be nominated. And I think we all know that. I think she actually got like a SAG nomination or something. She got nominated somewhere for Quiet Place. But then there's Sicario, which has the esteemed Denis Villeneuve at the director's chair. Her co-stars are Oscar nominees. Actually, Benicio's a winner. Benicio del Toro's an Oscar winner. So this is a great example of maybe this should have been her time. You don't immediately look at Emily Blunt and think badass federal agent who's gonna kick some butt and take names and make her way through the situation. And that's what's so great about her in this role, is that she's not like a John Wick character that just immediately knows how to survive every combat situation. She's definitely green and has some learning to do, but she handles herself pretty well until at least one sequence where she needs a little help. And it's just it's a completely different performance from Blunt, and it's a strong performance. It's a lead performance, and it highlights that the fact that Emily Blunt should have been nominated like 10 years ago for an Oscar and not now. I believe that if Emily Blunt was the type of actress that for some reason was actually getting recognized when she was supposed to be, she wouldn't have been nominated for Oppenheimer. It's not a performance that registers unless you're trying to nominate somebody for the first time. Same thing with America Ferrera. If that was somebody who had been nominated before, she wouldn't be in this race. But it's a great way to give them their first Oscar nominations, and people get really excited because it's an opportunity to hear their names called. But truthfully, America Ferrera, if you really want to feel good about it, give her nomination for Real Women Have Curves. Emily Blunt, there's like 8 performances. She should be like Amy Adams by now, like with just like a host of nominations. They came up at about the same time, so it's a fair comparison. Comparing her to Meryl Streep is ridiculous because Meryl's been around way much longer. Way longer. Um, so, yeah. Sicario. Now, the audio description on this, it's great. Deluxe and Darren Polish made a fantastic audio description track. It's not balanced well, is what I would say. I think that might be an Amazon thing. It's actually balanced, what I should say, considering I've been hard on Amazon in the past about balancing, it's not like Foe, where it seemed like they couldn't pick a lane, and sometimes the audio description was louder than the film, and sometimes it was softer, and the film constantly fades in and out. No, this one decidedly the audio description is louder. Amazon does a thing where you can do a dialogue boost. This kind of feels like I've done that, but I did it for audio description, even though that's not an option. If that makes any sense. Like I did an audio description boost, and it boosted that a little bit louder than the rest of the film. Sometimes it was hard to hear the film over the audio description, especially in the quieter moments. And when the narration was being given, and I was like, well, I can't turn the volume up because then it's just going to make the audio description louder. Balancing issues aren't just solved by turning things up, by the way, because if one thing's louder than the other, then the louder thing just gets louder. And you still hear it above the other. So it just means that one thing just starts screaming at you, and then the other thing is like loud enough, I guess. It's loud, and then the other thing is screaming. So it doesn't quite line up that way. But otherwise, it's fine. It's just if I had any qualm with it at all, it's the fact that it feels like this audio description track is a little bit louder than it needs to be. Just as a food for thought, just a little bit. But you know what? It's solid. It's well written. As I said, this film has many atrocities, many things that made me give pause and go, I'm not watching this ever again. When I was in theaters, like I don't own this on DVD. Even though I love Denis Villeneuve as a director, even though I own Prisoners, like this one was a bit much for me to watch. And yeah, so going through it again, I was like, oh yeah, that scene. Oh God. Oh. You know. And the audio description didn't fail me. It let me know. And then the film lets you know by having somebody usually vomit. It's really great about that. Give a really human reaction to everything that's going on. So, yeah. If you haven't seen Sicario, you should. And this is a great way to celebrate Emily Blunt, in my opinion. So again, I fully acknowledge this equally could be A Quiet Place, and I could have gone on and on about Emily Blunt in that film as well. But Sicario is maybe slightly a little bit underrated for what it is. Meanwhile, people just love the shit out of A Quiet Place, and we have like a third one coming. And I don't know if we should. I feel like the first one was great. The second one was okay. I don't know what the third one's going to be. We'll see. So I'm giving Sicario an A-. It's a great film. There's just a little bit that it feels like I'm entering a room and there's somebody that has their hand out and it's just like holding me back. There's something about the film and just me not totally wanting to be there throughout this process that keeps me from giving it an A. Like, it's not really the craft of the film or the pacing of the film. It's the fact that there are moments in this film where I'm like, oh my God, what am I watching? Oh my God, why am I doing this to myself? And the fact that I actually didn't think I would ever watch the film again. I'm here because it has audio description and I need to talk about Emily Blunt. But I made a conscious choice after watching Sicario to go, I'm never going to watch it again. So the rewatchability factor is real with this. And maybe it's not for some other people, but A- is a pretty good grade. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I assume you're a subscriber. Go to my website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on X or Instagram at MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what is audio description, where you can watch it. And you can go to the adna.org. That's the adna.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it for me today. I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side.